It's all gone now. SMG4 was a childhood staple for many people my age, full of funny moments and memorable lines. Yet, over the years, he gradually changed to become near unrecognizable and even hated among a certain sect of people online. What happened? What changed with SMG4's videos? Gather around, kids, because I want to explain my theory from the beginning. The old era is the beginning of SMG4, back when he was just an idiot kid who loved the world of Nintendo and internet culture. Sometime in 2011, he began to fall in love with Mario 64 bloopers. Yeah, that's oddly specific. It was a genre that first began all the way back in 2006, and slowly grew throughout the late 2000s. His first videos would show how much of a wannabe he was. Oh, the video's so tiny, it's so cute! That's better. The blooper followed the story of Mario visiting Peach's castle due to a letter he received about there being free cake. However, upon arriving, Toad tells Mario that there was no cake, it was not free, and the cake was a lie. So, he goes outside on a rampage, manhandles Peach, and then explodes himself to death. Okay, I'll address the elephant, the quality, or lack thereof. As SMG4's oldest surviving video from May 2011, you can tell it was made by an 11-year-old trying out emulators and making up the plot as he went along. The aspect ratio, the barely readable text, and the exquisite sound balance. They leave a lot to be desired, but a lot of these old Mario 64 bloopers were just like this. When you were a kid making videos, you never really cared about standards. You just wanted to tell a fun story. I would say that there was a lot of charm in them because you had to use your imagination for the voices of the characters and how scenes would animate in your head. But that shit is boring. I want to see some action and some Shrek scenes. Jaywalking! This episode follows Mario and Toad going to a night rave. However, Mario becomes extremely hammered after drinking milk and wakes up back at Peach's castle by a policeman who has warrants for his and Toad's arrest after Mario robbed the bank naked. After a botched trial, they're thrown in jail to rot. Or will they? A prisoner in a neighboring cell gives them a plan that he devised will help them escape. The next day, all hell ensues. $100 water bottles, a Metal Gear Solid reference, and policemen that sound like SpongeBob. Trust me, these plots are going to sound like they were made during a Fentfold phase. Many of SMG4's early ideas came to him via fans and friends in his comment section, many of whom even made cameos in his videos. I just love how the green guy gave Mario and Toad the escape plan, only to just leave him behind. Good Sigma behavior right there. In my eyes, I would consider this to be the first classic episode of SMG4, due to its usage of Gmod and extensive green screen. And the risque jokes. I remember watching a few of the early episodes on my flight to Japan. The feeling of watching Mario beat up an old lady for leaving him at a gay rave bar while watching the stars shine outside of the airplane was simply awesome. However, it's a bit rough around the edges as there is a lot of dead air. You can sometimes see the Gmod UI slip through the cracks, and the story can be a little all over the place. A lot of SMG4's early videos are hit and miss in terms of humor, like with the first episode of the Senmonar series. The humor ranges from a Teletubby twerking on Mario's dead body to Thwomps talking about how their life sucks. So, how was your day? You know, pounding my ass against the ground all day. Our life sucks. I know, buddy. Thankfully, over the years, SMG4's humor would continue to evolve and reach more people, thus leading to...
You little shit.
The classic era spans from 2013 to July 2017, and it's the one that people my age remember most fondly, as it was the perfect balance between story, appealing to what was popular at the time, and of course, being super freaking funny. After watching a spaghetti commercial, Mario rushes over to the grand opening of the spaghetti factory for a tour. But he would soon learn that this was no ordinary factory. After kicking Tubby Wonka in the balls, yes, that's his name, he had to give Mario a little lesson in respect.
Get the fuck out of here! No!
This meant war. Mario would soon commit property damage, breaking and entering, and possession of a weapon of mass destruction.
Sweet, merciful crap!
Eventually, Mario finds his way in, only to become imprisoned. Of course, this wasn't Mario's first rodeo with the prison system, so he broke free and found the legendary spaghetti machine. Wait, what's this? Uh-oh! Let me get this straight. Spaghetti is made of Tubby custard, processed pink glue that the alien things called the Teletubbies consume on a daily basis, is the thing being used to create ripe and delicious spaghetti. Mario understood what he had to do. I don't know why. There's something about the humor that still gets a chuckle out of me after all these years.
Titty sprinkles.
This episode is part of a series called Retarded 64. It had to be renamed to R64, it'll make sense later. A series that primarily features Mario acting like an idiot, and in my opinion, SMG4's greatest videos originated from the series. For example, you got Mario becoming a spaghetti delivery driver to pay off the Mushroom Kingdom's debt. However, he had some steep competition. Sadly, Mario couldn't compete and had to engage in a freaking boss battle.
Fuck this shit!
The Dr. Mario one followed Mario becoming the Mushroom Kingdom's equivalent to Dr. House. One of his missions follows delivering a baby.
I'm here!
Success!
Surprise, motherfucker!
Mario the Olympian follows Mario breaking into the Olympic Stadium after Sonic freaking dies in order to compete for free food. Of course, his competition was rather stiff, featuring Kermit the Frog, the old hobo guy, and Woody from Toy Story. They were getting sick of Mario's winning shit, so they had to invent a new game on the spot. Shoot the Mario.
You can do shit, bruh!
Shoutouts to the Paralympians. Even people with disabilities can be winners. Mario's thrown in prison for the next 10 years, but rejoices since he can get some free food. Thankfully, after his release, he would try something new to change his life around.
Maybe there's another way. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
This episode follows Mario getting arrested after illegally operating his lemonade stand without a license. For his community service, he applies for a job at a shitty pizzeria where a night guard was traumatized by the animatronics. Now, come on, it can't be that bad. I swear, spaghetti is like Mario's Winter Soldier activation words. Mario had to torment the animatronics in return after desecrating the holy spaghetti. Oh, how the tables have turned. I think this is the point where SMG4 mastered his comedic style of joke after joke after cool reference after joke. However, people began to notice that SMG4 was targeting a new audience. Ooh, I wonder what age demographic it is. Kids. It's no secret that SMG4 has always appealed to neurodivergent idiots, but beginning around the second half of the 2010s, the change became blatant. This episode was released during the heyday of the FNAF craze. That's important to know since SMG4 began to make episodes and jokes based on trends. And you know who trends appeal to? Ding dong, little chicken nuggets. You got Cuphead, Among Us, and friggin' Skibbity Toilet? I'm sure they're fun watches, but many of these new changes began to alienate SMG4's old fanbase, which all culminated into the modern era. Modern SMG4 are basically the videos that I have never really seen, because I grew up with more intellectually stimulating content, like Mario Kart Wii shortcuts and Nathaniel Bandy. My knowledge about SMG4 becomes a bit spotty year after year, so I just picked one important episode and two at random, and went along with the baloney it provided me. If Mario was in Splatoon, Mario was kidnapped and has entered the world of Splatoon! In order for him to return home, he has to team up with his kidnapper, an Inkling named Meggy, in order to win a turf war match. In the end, Mario and Meggy's team lost. And that's okay, because they've earned something much better than a trophy. Friendship. And a kick in the balls. Many SMG4 fans, and even the man himself, consider this episode to be the point where everything changed due to two reasons. The first is the introduction of Meggy. She is a whole rabbit hole that people have some strong opinions about due to what she represented. She's the harbinger of a new era of episodes that focus more on emotion, character development, and also she began to take the spotlight away from the older characters that people had grown to love. TLDR, stuff that old fans never really cared about. But personally, I just find it hilarious that later on, Meggy would get voiced by Yanfei's voice actress. You know, from Genshin Impact.
Can I order one hot dog with mustard and ketchup? What is wrong with me today?
Over the years, starting from 2017 onward, the fanbase would gradually change to accommodate this new style of more sophisticated and high-class content. Mario goes to T-Mobile to upgrade his data plan. What the fuck was that title? Mario's at the T-Mobile store because he needs to buy a data plan that allows for international phone calls. Eventually, he gets finessed into upgrading with a super cool phone plan. But at what cost?
Shoot it down.
The salesman forced Mario to save the world from nuclear winter by upgrading to a super duper phone plan that comes with a mecha suit as a perk.
You lose 100 megabytes of power.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that Mario never asked for unlimited data, or the fact that the suit uses effing data. Thankfully, Mario redirects the nuke directly at the moon, causing an alien genocide that opens the door to the darkness. In his most dire hour, he makes one last call to beg Luigi to save him. Holy, whoa, oh my gosh! Thankfully, Mario was rescued in the nick of time, and he learned a valuable lesson. Salesmen are the spawn of Satan. This episode came out in January 2023. In between the past and now, so much has changed. The Mario 64 elements have all but disappeared, and are now replaced by Gmod ragdolls. SMG4 looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and he apparently talks now?
Shrek Online! Go on quests, start parties, take a and fight other players for your rights to Shrek's children.
Okay, that ad is such a gem. At some point, many of the SMG4 cast received official voice actors. A lot of the humor and language had to be toned down for a younger audience. Remember Retarded 64? Now it had to be renamed to just R64. But hey, in exchange, you get so much animation. Gmod animation takes quite a while, especially with the lip sync, because how the hell do they do that? But at this point, SMG4 had evolved from a one-man show to a whole team of people to pump out these episodes on a weekly basis. Honestly, I get the feeling that these episodes are a testing ground before SMG4 moves on to the next level of producing something original and longer. Like with Puzzle Vision. Holy baloney, look at the length. Okay, in the shortest way possible, there's this twink named Mr. Puzzles who dropped SMG4 and a few of his friends inside of a TV universe as he wants to achieve a 5-star rating so he can finally control the world via mind control. So, SMG4's friends and Mario has to find a way to escape despite being trapped in various parodies, like the Titanic.
Maybe one more time.
There's that Bob the Builder reference where Bob becomes fucking Thor.
Please come again.
And then you have Luigi beating meat with Gordon Ramsay.
Surprise, motherfucker.
After a lot of solving the puzzle, the gang reunited and went along to defeat Mr. Puzzles once and for all. The ending fight was kind of stupid in my opinion, but it was fun to watch. In the later years, SMG4 began moving away from an episodic comedy with frequent usage of the reset button to anime arcs, where there are consequences and the story builds up to a climax. After the movie ended, the real SMG4, Luke, what the hell is that last name?
Ludwig,
sat in front of a camera and talked about how he wanted to explore different formats with his videos to train his creative muscles. The Puzzle Vision arc just so happens to be the training ground for the team to go butt crazy with all these animation techniques and oddly heartwarming scenes.
No, I just like smiling.
That revelation at the end reveals a lot about why, in my opinion, SMG4 has such a split fanbase. Experimentation. Truth be told, most people think that they want the same thing over and over again, but changing things up is what keeps things fresh and helps us grow as people. That's why we live in a world where Mario's sole motivation for rescuing SMG4 was because his Teletubbies TV was taken away. Stockholm Syndrome finally hit, huh? A lot of people don't enjoy how SMG4 has changed over the years. I felt the same way at one point, but I get the feeling that some of the criticism is being clouded by rose-tinted glasses. I love the classic era with all my heart because I always anticipated binge watching them when I came home from grade school, but I'm not even gonna lie, some of the new episodes got a few chuckles out of me.
I loved feeling lobotomized while watching Mario cause an alien genocide.
The thing that caused the split, in my opinion, was SMG4 himself. Luke was only 11 years old when he began making these videos. You're seeing a kid's humor mature as he grew up, and his outside influences changed. It's like if SpongeBob went from a silly comedy to a Death Note style thriller. It's a little jarring, but I feel it's best to separate the two eras and enjoy them for what they are. But in the end, Thanks to his hard work, SMG4 is now on top of the world. We're all attached to the past in some way, longing for childhood nostalgia. But there comes a time when we need to explore new things and appreciate it from different angles, because the new needs friends. Shoutouts to Ratatouille, freaking love that movie. Moral of the story? I don't know, we gotta give new things a chance. Besides, there is 1,000 episodes to watch. I think we'll eat well for a while. Who knows? Maybe I'll rank them all someday? Wink wink.